Did cavemen gamble? It sounds like a strange question at first, almost funny. You imagine a group of hairy prehistoric humans sitting inside a smoky cave, one of them slamming a mammoth bone on the ground and shouting, "I bet 3 berries." But the more you think about it, the more interesting the question becomes. Because gambling is not really about casinos. It is not really about cards, slot machines, money, or shiny dice bouncing across a table. At its deepest level, gambling is about something much older. Risk, chance, hope, the electric little moment where nobody knows what will happen next. And if there is one thing ancient humans understood better than almost anyone alive today, it was risk. Every hunt was a gamble. Every new plant was a gamble. Every frozen river crossing was a gamble. Every night outside the firelight was a gamble, with teeth hiding in the dark. So maybe the real question is not, did cavemen gamble? Maybe the real question is, when did humans become addicted to chance? Now we have to be careful. Archaeologists have not found a stone sign outside a cave that says, "Welcome to the Mammoth Casino." There is no proof that Paleolithic cave people were betting shells on spear-throwing contests or wagering meat over who could guess the next bone toss. But humans leave clues, and some of those clues are surprisingly ancient. A 2026 study in American Antiquity argues that indigenous people in Western North America were making and using two-sided dice for games of chance and gambling for at least 12,000 years, with the earliest examples appearing in late Pleistocene Folsom deposits in places like Wyoming, Colorado, and New Mexico. That is old. Not Grandpa remembers this old, not ancient Egypt old. That is Ice Age old. That is humans living in a world of giant animals, stone tools, long migrations, dangerous winters, and survival decisions that could end a bloodline. These early dice were not little white cubes with black dots like modern dice. Many were more like two-sided lots, objects that could land one way or another, almost like a coin flip before coins existed. According to the study, these kinds of dice were used to create random outcomes in structured games, and later ethnographic records show Native American dice games often involve tossing marked pieces, counting results, keeping score, and sometimes gambling. Imagine that. A small object flies into the air. For 1 second, it belongs to nobody, not the thrower, not the watcher, not the strongest person in the group, not the best hunter. It spins, falls, lands, and suddenly the whole group reacts. Someone laughs, someone groans, someone wins, someone loses. That tiny moment is powerful because chance does something unusual. It makes the world feel mysterious, fair, cruel, funny, and alive all at once. And for ancient humans, games of chance may have been more than entertainment. Researchers suggest they may have worked like social technology, helping mobile groups interact, trade, build relationships, and reduce tension when people who did not see each other often came together. That makes sense. Picture two hunter-gatherer groups meeting after months apart. They might want to trade stone, food, hides, stories, marriage partners, or information about herds and rivers. But strangers are dangerous. Nobody wants a fight. So what breaks the tension? A game, a toss, a laugh, a little risk that turns suspicion into shared attention. Before contracts, before handshakes, before sports leagues, chance may have helped humans sit together without immediately grabbing spears. And this is where gambling becomes more fascinating than just people wanted to win stuff. Gambling creates drama without war. It lets people compete without killing. It turns rivalry into ritual. You can lose a few beads, a decorated shell, a piece of meat, a tool, or pride, and still walk away alive. That is not a small invention. That is human society learning how to release pressure without exploding. But why would ancient humans enjoy risk at all? Weren't their lives risky enough? That is exactly the point. Humans did not evolve in safe little rooms. Our brains were built in a world where prediction mattered. Will the herd turn left? Will the storm hit tonight? Is that shadow a rock or a predator? Is this stranger friendly or dangerous? The human mind became obsessed with patterns because patterns meant survival. A game of chance is like a tiny storm you can hold in your hand. It lets the brain practice uncertainty. It creates suspense, then releases it. It gives people a safe version of the feeling they had during hunts, escapes, and dangerous journeys. In a way, gambling may be the campfire version of survival risk. Danger turned into play. Later ancient civilizations give us clearer evidence that humans love chance games. The royal game of Ur, one of the oldest known board games, was found in the royal cemetery of Ur in modern Iraq and dates to around 2600 to 2400 BC, according to the British Museum. That game combined movement, strategy, and chance, showing that by the time cities were rising, humans had already turned uncertainty into formal entertainment. And across the ancient Mediterranean, people used astragali, the ankle bones of sheep or goats, as dice-like objects for children's games, adult games, gambling, and even divination. That last part matters, divination. Because in the ancient world, chance was often not seen as random in the modern sense. A falling bone might not just be luck. It might be a message, a sign, a whisper from spirits, gods, ancestors, or fate. To us, a dice roll is mathematics wearing a party hat. To many ancient people, it may have felt like the invisible world briefly showing its hand. That means early gambling, gaming, and fortune-telling may have been tangled together like roots under the same tree. Toss the bones to play, toss the bones to decide, toss the bones to ask what the future wants. Now return to the cave, or the Ice Age camp, or the open plain where humans sit around fire after a long day of hunting. There is no television, no phone, no music app, no stadium. But there are people, and people are never empty. Someone has a carved bone. Someone has marked sticks. Someone has shells, stones, or little pieces of wood. Someone says, "Let's see who wins." The group leans closer. The fire pops. A child watches wide-eyed. An elder smiles because they have seen this game 1,000 times. A hunter who was brave all day suddenly becomes nervous over a tiny toss. That is the funny thing about humans. We can face wild animals, storms, hunger, and darkness, then still become completely trapped by a little object spinning through the air. And maybe the loser has to give up a snack. Maybe the winner gets a decorated bead. Maybe nobody bets anything at all and the only prize is laughter. But even laughter matters. In a hard world, fun is not useless. Fun keeps people together. Fun teaches children rules. Fun lets adults compete without bloodshed. Fun makes a group feel like a group. A camp that can laugh together is stronger than a camp that only survives together. So did cavemen gamble? The most honest answer is this. We cannot prove that every prehistoric cave group gambled, and we should not imagine modern casinos hiding in the Stone Age. But the human love of chance is very old, and new archaeological research suggests games of chance and gambling may reach back at least 12,000 years in parts of North America, deep into the world of hunter-gatherers. That means gambling was not born in neon lights. It was not born in Las Vegas, royal palaces, or city taverns. It may have been born beside fires and gatherings in camps, in the hands of people who understood that life itself was uncertain. And that is what makes the idea so haunting. The first gamblers may not have been chasing riches. They may have been chasing connection, suspense, status, trust, a reason to laugh with strangers, a way to make the unknown feel playable. Long before humans built casinos, they were already looking at chance and asking, what happens next? That question is ancient. It is still inside us. Every roll, every bet, every risk, every guess, every moment before the answer appears, it all echoes something from the deep human past. Maybe the first dice were not cubes. Maybe the first table was dirt. Maybe the first jackpot was a shell, a story, a meal, or just the roar of the group when the bones landed right. But the feeling, that little spark in the chest when fate is still in the air, that may be older than civilization itself.